Lori Houston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Lori now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart, and it is the last Tuesday of the month, the last Tuesday of May, right before I go on my, a break until September. But we have my awesome co-host, Tom Campbell, with me. And, well, we're going to start a little bit with the symposium that is coming up in September, just because we won't be able to give it enough push before our next show. But let's talk about this. So I love how I hear that you're retiring, but you actually created a new organization, which is the Center of Unification for Science and Consciousness. And you're having a symposium. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever retire either, but it seems like you've retired several times.
Yes, I'm actually good at retiring. I've retired lots of times.
Yeah.
This is, I think, maybe my fifth or sixth retirement.
Yeah. Coming up in Spain in October, is it? So you're like,
yeah.
you're really allowing that retirement to stick. Yeah. But you did just come back from a lovely cruise in Alaska, right?
Yes, I did just come back from a cruise in Alaska, but the problem with the not with the cruise, but with the it's pushing the retirement is that, and what happens is that I retire, and then if everything is good and getting easier and so on for a couple of months, and then I pick up this task, and then I pick up that task, and then this other thing, and then another idea comes up, and pretty soon, and it's not just me, but my wife is unseen in most of these things, but she's behind the scenes doing lots and lots of necessary tasks that the whole thing would fall through if they weren't done, but I don't have time to do them, and so she does them. All the little detail stuff that has to get done. She tends to do all that. So about, 6 months ago, she comes and she starts complaining to me that she's overworked. She's working, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. And she says, this is just too much. This is crazy. I'm, 67 years old and, don't want to be, driving myself that hard. And of course, I drive myself like that too, because she's working all those hours because I'm busy working all the same number of hours. Otherwise, if I didn't have my stuff to do, I could do what she was doing. But so it takes at least two people's worth of time. And then we decided there was really three people's worth of time here. So we called for help, and we have Eileen, who's come in to help us, just offload some of this stuff to somebody else who's younger than we are. And she's middle 50s. So that's way younger than me. She's the same age as my son, my oldest son. But anyhow, she's very helpful, extremely helpful. So Pamela is starting to ease out as Eileen takes some more of her duties, and I'm trying to slip out the back as well as she takes more of mine. And I'm trying to retire. So that's kind of on the personal side, but then on the MBT side, I've created a group. Well, I've had the CUSAC, it's called, Center for the Unification of Science and Consciousness. I've had that for a while, and it was just managing the money for the experiments.
Okay.
And that was its job. It's a not-for-profit organization, and I did that because that's transparent financially. It's like the public can look into the records of tax exempt organization, so 501c3. So I had that to handle the money, so it would be real clear money goes where and what's it used for, and so on. So I had that, and then I created, or then a group was created. I didn't really create it. I got a bunch of people together and said, "Hey, look, I want to slip out the back. I'm almost 80 years old. I'll be 80 this year, and I don't want to work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. I should have gotten out of that a long time ago. Said I want less work to do, so I need you guys to step in, and we need to prepare for the transition when Tom isn't here anymore. I'm not going to be here forever, so let's start making that transition into MBT is not a personality cult. It's not all about Tom Campbell. It's bigger than that. It's about the ideas and the concepts and the tools and the things that we've created, the products we've created, and so on. That's what it's about. It's not about Tom Campbell. So that's kind of a transition in the minds of our customers that we have to make. And then we have to set up a group that's also a nonprofit, another nonprofit, and let them handle my intellectual property. So I take my intellectual property, which is my books and all the products I've done and everything, and I say, here, you handle this intellectual property. You find people who would like to use it, and you license it to them to use. You can do that however you want to do it, but I'm slipping out the back. So that was kind of my plan for walking into my 80th year, which is this year. And it's working pretty good. It kind of got off to a slow start and staggered around a little bit trying to find its feet. But all this happened last September when I was, when there was a meeting here in Huntsville of, I don't know, just MBT folks mostly was a meeting. And then I brought all this up. I said, hey, I'm going to be 80 next year. And we need to shift the focus of this organization and how it's run and whatever, because I don't want to be sitting at the reins any longer running it, but somebody else has to, and that's going to take time. So I'd like to start the transition while I can still be here to guide the transition.
There you go.
So that seemed to make good sense. So that's what's going on. So yeah, there's a lot of changes going on here, but they're all good changes, and I'm hoping that this is kind of the first step for breaking into more mainstream work, rather than being, you have kind of the MBT niche and the MBT people who fill that MBT niche, but it's got to be bigger than that. Even though that keeps growing, it's got to be bigger than that. We need to do more outreach. We need to connect with other people and other organizations and other whatevers. We need to join with others, not just stay in our own little niche. That's not a good idea. If you're going to go mainstream, you have to do it with other people. So I gave that speech too, and got everybody enthused about doing all this. So it's taking place now, and it's starting to work. The group that's supposed to manage my intellectual property is called The Hub, and it's pulling itself together. And Eileen, that person who was just here helping me find the mic and doing everything, that's Eileen, and she's on the board. Excuse me, she's on the board of The Hub. I have this cough because when I was on the ship, third day or so that I was on the ship, the captain of the ship got new engines for his ship, and he just wanted to see how fast it would go, in heavy weather. So he pulled up the stabilizers, which keep the ship from rocking. They got these big stabilizers they put out, and then they sink them in the water so that the boat can't rock. So he pulled up his stabilizers and pulled back on the throttle, and for about 7 or 8 straight hours. We pushed speedily through heavy seas that were real choppy. And about 30% of everybody on the boat was sick.
Wow.
But the captain had a good time. So
Wow.
anyway, so I was sick. I
Yeah.
get motion sickness easily. I was quite immune to it until I was mid to late 30s, and then suddenly everything started to change, and then it's gotten progressively worse.
Mm.
It hasn't gotten much worse, I guess, in the last decade or so, but it already had gotten as bad as it could get, I guess, by then. So I got real sick, and I was in bed all that day and the next day. And when you have seasickness, you're nauseous and you throw up, and so I got all this acid in my throat. And when you do that, it burns the throat. So then your body wants to heal that by putting a lot of mucus on it to protect it, and then that mucus lies in your throat and makes you cough. So that's where I am. I'm coughing more, but enjoying it less. All right, now, so that's what's been going on with me.
So what,
And
I mean, you've got quite a few people coming. So it's all about you kind of joining with these new people to sort of make it more mainstream.
that's part of it, yes. This is kind of our intent, our first attempt to reach out, connect with other people, pull them to us, us to them, create alliances, that sort of thing. Kind of, you share I'll share my MBT audience with you, and you share your audience with me, and we'll all get a bigger audience. If we work together than if we don't work together.
Best way.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing. But now this is going to be a fun thing. Now this is the image, and I'll probably be telling things that don't happen or something. But anyway, here was the intent. The intent that it's supposed to be. It's about science and consciousness. So that's the key. So we're going to have a lot of people there who are working on that boundary with science and consciousness, and they will be giving their viewpoints and and the things that they've learned and the way they are looking at the problem. I'm going to give mine. I'll be one of the speakers, and I'll give my viewpoints on that. But I'll go into more detail than I usually do. I'll kind of explain my theory in a lot more detail, and I will explain the experiments. The first experiment has been creating results now, and the way it takes a while for me to pull it all together and plug all the holes and make sure everything's been done right. So, but it is creating results, so that's good. But I'll be presenting those at this symposium, and the way it looks, if you're interested in, well, how does it look like it's coming out? The way it looks is it's coming out exactly the way I predicted it would come out. So that's good for me.
Yes.
That it looks that way. So that's good. So it's going to be a very positive report on these experiments, and I'll be talking about other experiments we're doing and what's next and where we're going with it and that kind of thing. We need to find some people who have an excess in capital and would like to help save the world, or fund something worthwhile, and see if we can't get some money to help pay for the experiments, because the next experiments are going to be more expensive. We did the easy one first, and that cost about $100,000 a piece. So this one will cost $150,000 just to buy one piece of equipment that's necessary. So this one's the next one's going to be more important. So I'll talk about all those things and kind of what it means, what the result means, and so on. And we're also supposed to be having fun. We're going to try to get some musicians just to kind of wander around during the day and play music when they feel like it, and play music in the evening. Evening after all the things going down, we're going to kind of have music time. And we'll have live musicians just come in and play and talk with the group and interact. And we have all sorts of other things going on the sideline all the time. I'm going to have a guy from TMI come and do a meditation that will, he says, pretty much guarantee that people will pop out of body. Says it really is very effective. So during the whole thing, if you want to do that, you just walk over, and when there's a chair empty, you sit down in that. And they'll probably fill up the chairs, and then he'll start the process. And then when that's all done, everybody will leave, and then the chairs can fill up again. So it'll just be going the whole time. There will be a guy there who will put a band across your forehead that reads your EEG. You know, it will get all the brainwave signals out. It will sign an instrument. He's a musician. It'll sign each brainwave to an instrument.
Cool.
And then, depending on the intensity of that brainwave and whether it's, you know, I don't know, there's lots of parameters around the brainwaves other than just frequency. And he'll take those parameters, and that will determine how that instrument plays. So you can have all these instruments going on, and will you create a symphony or will you create a lot of noise, you know? And I tried it. I asked him to come because he did it to me. I was at some place where they did that. I was in Costa Rica, and he put that on me, and I really enjoyed the music. It was real flowy, and you know, it was real kind of nice. I liked it. It sounded good to me, and it was unusual to him because he'd never had anybody just kind of drop into it wasn't even a theta state. It was a little lower, and I was almost a delta state, and just stay there for the whole time. But that's where I live, so it was easy for me to do that. And so he'll be there, and you can sit down and find out what kind of music you make with your brain waves. There'll be a lot of little things like that, side things going on all at the same time that are kind of a, you know, get involved with it. Not sit down and listen to the lecture, but get involved with it. And then when a day is done, we will all kind of gather in the evening in the largest room that we have. Like I say, the musicians will play, and we'll listen. And then when they're finished playing, we'll let the internet do the playing, and we'll dance. So it's going to be a party at the very end.
Does that mean we hear everybody else's music?
No,
Imagine
no.
some of them wouldn't be
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, that would be something. No, this will probably getting some good dance music out of the internet, and just playing, you know, just playing, partying, dance, talk, whatever it is you want to do. So the concept here is that it's not just sit down and listen to lectures. That's tiring, you know, even boring to some. So it's interactive things. There'll be a host of interactive things going on all the time, and there'll be a lot of socialization time. So it's important to talk to other people. It's a networking, get to know and learn to know other people, connect with them, you know, tell them about yourself, listen to them tell you about themselves, and kind of get to know each other. So we're trying to meld various groups. So it's not only that the leaders know each other and are sharing mailing lists, you know, that's but that the people are actually sharing ideas and connecting with each other. So that's the idea. That it's going to be kind of a fun, educational, party, musical event. But our speakers are going to be very interesting. I can name a few of them will probably come to mind, but Peter Sage will be there. He's kind of more of a motivational speaker, but he and I have known each other now for some years, and Peter will have some interesting things to say. From his viewpoint, we're going to have, I should name them all. We may have a fellow from Spain who is it's going to be people there from other countries, of course. This is not just a U.S. and Canada and Mexico thing. This is a worldwide thing. So there'll be people from other countries that'll be coming in and doing things. I wish, yeah. I can't just tell you all the. Don Hoffman will be there. We're trying to talk Don into coming himself rather than zooming in. He had some other conflicts, and he said, I can come if I can Zoom, but the Zoom doesn't make it easy to sit down and talk and chat and get into the idea that this is a communication and connection kind of thing, not just to listen to the lecture sort of thing. So it's different. We'd like our speakers to come and actually be there and not walk out the door when they're done talking, but to mingle and chat and become part of the community. So that's what it's going to be about. And it should be fun. It should be educational. Should be a lot of interesting people and interesting speakers. I know the people who are putting all this together, they're probably choking themselves right now or something, because I can't give a better, more detailed description. But in any case, that's because I'm not actually doing it, but I hear about it. But my short-term memory is not worth much anymore. I still remember the things that happened almost precisely, that happened, 70 years ago, and I can play those back in detail. But whatever happened just 10 minutes ago, that's harder to come up with. That just happens as you get older. The short-term memory is the first to desert you. So anyway, that's what it's going to be like. Interesting speakers, interesting people, and a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, speaking of fun, I thought we would make this show a little bit about fun too.
Good.
Maybe making some fun choices and just having, I know that the larger consciousness system, it's here for us. So how to make some fun choices for the summer that we're having and to experience, and maybe just, we all take this journey so seriously sometimes, and it is a serious journey in some points, but we might make it a little bit more difficult than we need to. And I think it's really need to find fun things to do and all come from the heart and enjoy ourselves. So.
Exactly. Seriousness is not the direction that you're going in as you grow. Seriousness may be part of a process, but everything you do, the more your consciousness becomes evolved, the less serious you are. Beginners are a lot more serious than people who've been doing it for a long time. Although people have been doing it for a long time, we sit here and we either fold our legs up or sit here and we look real serious, but we're not all that serious. We're trying to have, or at least pretending to have, serious conversations. That's true. But life becomes just full of fun and full of joy and full of humor. And if your life isn't getting more and more fun, then you're doing something wrong. You really need to have fun. You need to not only enjoy what you do, but you just need to enjoy existing. Enjoy being, enjoying, connecting with other people. Now, yes, other people tend to be full of problems, and of course you always never have any problems. It's other people that have all the problems. That's by definition. You're almost perfect. You listeners out there are all listening to this, right? You understand that you're almost perfect, just exactly the way you are. But other people have problems, and you need to be able to appreciate those people and their problems and realize that's okay. That's where they are. They need that problem. That's the thing that's the stick that's poking at them, trying to get them to grow a little bit. You grow with sticks and carrots. Sticks are the things that aren't working so well. They goad you to change, and carrots are the things that are working well that encourage you to continue. So the problems tend to be the sticks that are trying to get you to realize that if you're unhappy, you need to change something. Just keep doing the same isn't going to work. But you need to appreciate other people's problems and appreciate that they need that particular issue that they have in order to grow, whether that's an illness or just maybe a general grumpiness or something. They have to one day look at that and say, why am I so grumpy? What do I get from that? Oh, I make a lot of misery for myself from that. Why don't I just quit? You see, so fun and pleasantness and enjoyment and humor and laughing, that's where we're going. That's kind of the way life is once you get rid of all those fears. It's those fears that make you so serious. And when you get rid of all those fears, then life isn't that serious. Stuff happens, you get to deal with it. But that's an adventure, not oh no, look at that, stuff happened, now I got to deal with it. It's not like that. It's, oh, look at this, stuff happened now. What's the right way to deal with this? And let's see if I can get this one right. And you approach things with a positive attitude, not a negative attitude. And you have fun. I know I probably don't look like I'm having a lot of fun and enjoying myself. And Tom is kind of a serious guy, but if you talk to, Eileen's been here, kind of helping us a lot. So I spent a lot of time. She spent a lot of time with Pamela and I in the last 3 weeks or so. She's been here maybe 3 weeks a month. She was on the cruise too, as was her niece. Came with her. Anyhow, if you ask her, does Tom have a lot of fun? Is he always joking and happy and full of jokes and laughter and so on? And she'll probably say, yes, exactly. He's a hoot. It's a laugh a minute when you hang out with Tom. But that's my private life. When I'm here presenting wisdom to the masses, well, I can't do that because that's not expected. It's expected that I'd be serious about those things because those are serious things. So you wouldn't be taken seriously if you weren't serious. So that's part of the requirement that the delivery be serious and that you don't crack a lot of jokes along the way because that makes the whole thing seem not so important. But my life really is full of laughter and fun, all the time, minute by minute. So yes, if your life is just misery, one line of misery and unhappiness, you're doing a lot of things wrong. You need to step back and look and say, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And immediately you'll probably think, oh, everything I do, I have to. Well, that's a trap. You don't really have to. You choose to do those, and you think you have to. You think you're trapped. I have to do this, and I have to do that like that. And I've kind of found my minimum pain situation right here, and that's where I'm hanging out at my minimum pain situation. Anything I change will make it worse. It's generally not like that. That's just your belief of where you are. There's a lot of things that you have choices of how you do things. You have choices of just how you interpret the data. How do you deal with things? So things that you're dealing with now that make you feel oh no, not that again, or do I still have to do more of that?
Not with
Those,
that. Over and over and over again. Why is it still coming up?
yeah, right. If you're stuck in that, then you have to back up and see it from a bigger picture. As long as you keep looking at it from the little picture where you are, you'll always see the same answer. I have to do that, and it's a pain in the neck, and I don't like it, but I'm stuck. But if you can back up and see it from a bigger picture, there's a very high probability that you're not stuck at all. Well, you are stuck, but what you're stuck in is your own belief. That's what you're stuck in. So you got to back out your perspective past the limits of your beliefs and look at life and what you're doing in the big picture. And a lot of things that you think are essential, your world would fall apart if they weren't done. Your world will just keep going on and chugging along just fine if those things weren't done. People would just adjust and go on without a whole lot of trouble. So you just need to find humor and lightness, because heaviness and seriousness gets associated eventually with darkness. Even if it's not dark to begin with, after years of heaviness and seriousness, it starts to turn into darkness. And you don't want to go there. You want to be light. Life needs to be an adventure. New stuff that happens needs to be exciting. It's an adventure. The unknown, instead of being scary, needs to be something you welcome, you embrace. Again, another adventure. And when you see life as a series of interesting and growth-inducing adventures, then life just becomes fun. And it's real easy to laugh at yourself and laugh at all the bad choices that you've made and the things that you've done and the times you've fallen on your face, and all of that becomes hilarious because you see it from a bigger picture. So, yes, this is not a get more and more serious. I mean, people will say, okay, let's get serious now. Well, all right, you have to be serious in the sense that you have to have intent. You have to seriously want to grow up, because if you really aren't that focused on growing up, well, you just won't. You'll just keep dithering around where you are, and next lifetime will be just like the last lifetime, and the next one after that will be just like those, and nothing will happen because you won't be growing. You'll be struggling with the same lessons over and over and over again, which is what most people are doing. They're making very little progress. So if you lighten up and smile more and are more positive, you'll probably grow a lot faster. You won't take yourself quite so seriously, or anybody else quite so seriously. And you just have to, let people be the way they are and not judge. Stop judging people and stop judging yourself. Just be and interact with life as it happens without any expectations, requirements, anything. Okay, here comes something new. How am I going to deal with that? And here's all this old stuff that I'm doing. How am I going to deal with that? Is it profitable? Is the stuff I'm doing, am I learning from it? And if the answer is no, then you have to say, well, why? I should be learning from everything I do. Even if it's something mundane like washing the dishes, it's something you should be learning from. Why are you doing this? Why is it necessary? Oh yes, you're a contributing member of a family. Well, why doesn't somebody else contribute? Well, that's them. That's the way they are. You just have to stop worrying about doing more than somebody else, comparing yourself to other people. Oh, I do all the work and other people don't do as much as I do. Oh, woe is me. I'm a poor, sad person that gets taken advantage of, and then you go into that hole from which it's difficult to recover. So you don't go in there. You just realize, well, if you're doing things that are contributing and you're part of the solution, not part of the problem, and feel good about that. Feel good about that. And don't start making comparisons of how much you're doing compared to somebody else. And all that judging is what gets you into trouble. It doesn't matter what other people are doing, what other people are doing. You can't control it. You can't organize it. You can't do anything with it. So, and hollering at it, trying to force it to be the way you want, that's just counterproductive. So let it be. Live with it. Deal with it. You just make sure what you do is part of the solution. You're being helpful and feel good.
Because we won't know. I mean, we really don't know anybody else's life. We just judge it.
Yes.
And we think, oh well, I'm better than that, or oh no, I'm not as good as that. And that's kind of where we get stuck. And we don't know who we are because we're not them. We'll never know who, I mean,
we just barely understand our own life. Right. How much do you think we understand of somebody else's life? We just barely understand a little bit of our own. So that's the thing, life just moves on and you make choices. And whatever your choices are, you do those things. And just look and say that the things I do, what are they? What category, where do I put them? And it's not so matter you're judging yourself. You're just looking to see, what do I do? And is it helpful? Is it helpful just to me? Or is it helpful to me and others? Or is it just helpful to others? What am I accomplishing here? And if I don't do it, then what happens? Who picks up, or what happens? And that might be an interesting experiment. Just see. Just one day stop washing dishes, or stop, doing whatever you do. See what happens. See how the rest of the world adjusts to that, because it will adjust to that. The world will adjust, people will adjust whatever it is they have to adjust to. So you're in this interactive dance with a lot of other people, but you're not stuck. You can make different choices and just see how that works. Was that helpful or not? Or did it make everything worse? Were you a lot better off, doing what you were doing? Well, you can always go back to it. So that even sounds fun, right? It sounds like maybe a fun thing to do. Yeah, you have to have fun and take things lightly and not be so serious. So it's a good thing to mention fun, because we don't mention that very often. We're usually talking about the fears. Those fears have you, and you got to get rid of those fears, and and it all seems like this big serious drama going on that you have to struggle with your fears, and very dramatic stuff. But it's got to be done lightly. It's got to be done without angst and anxiety. I mean, that's the whole point, is getting rid of the anxiety, getting rid of the judgment, getting rid of the guilt, getting rid of the everything I do because I have to. And I have to because other people depend on me. Well, is that so bad? Other people depend on you, and you're helpful to a lot of other people. Oh, good. Give yourself 2 gold stars. A lot of people depend on you, and you're helpful to a whole bunch of people. Well, good for you. How could you be more helpful to those people? You see, look at it in a positive way, and it's a good idea to talk about having fun. It needs levity. We don't need to take ourselves so seriously. What? We have to be serious in our intents where we're going. All right, I want to grow up. That needs to be a serious intent. But it doesn't mean that you have to be serious about all the choices you make in that path. And you can make mistakes. And when you make mistakes and it causes some kind of a kerfuffle going on, well, you can laugh at yourself and say, well, look at that. I created a big tangle here. Let's see if I can untangle it. But you do it from a light attitude, not from a, oh no. Everything's a disaster. Everything is a problem. Everything is an oh no. That's the wrong attitude. So even if you do create a big problem, well, okay, it'll adjust. You can fix that problem, or somebody else will fix that problem. You have a lot more choices than you think. We all feel trapped. I shouldn't say all. I don't feel trapped at all, but many people feel trapped in their situations. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't like being in it, but they don't know how to slip out the back. But what's trapped them is their own fear and their own beliefs. That's the trap that they're in. All these other people that they blame for, creating the trap that holds them, those people didn't create that. You got there by your own choices. Now, if you made bad choices, well, think about that and say, well, what other choices should I have made? And what should I learn from that? Next time I get there, am I going to make another bad choice? Well, you will if you didn't learn anything from the last bad choice. So, yes, you have to, do that. But you don't do it with with dun 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 music playing in the background. You do it with giggling in the background. Oh, look, I did make that bad choice. Then look what happened. Oh, I should have seen that coming, and you do it with a positive way, not a big, dramatic way. And always avoid feeling sorry for yourself. When you feel sorry for yourself, oh, woe is me, you're putting yourself in the worst possible position for learning anything. You just put yourself in a position for more problems and falling deeper into that hole. So once you get to oh, look at me, I do more than anybody, I'm abused, I'm overworked, I'm this, I'm that, I do so much and other people do so little. When you get into that, oh, woe is me, that is a killer of incentive and a killer of good attitude. And it puts you into a place that is hard to climb out of. So you got to be careful about that. As soon as you notice you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're thinking that you're doing more than others and you're being abused and used and so on, that's a slippery slope you need to back off from. You're there because you've made choices that have landed you there. Where you are right now in your life, every detail of it, you're there because of choices you made. Now, maybe you've made some bad choices, and maybe these are the bad results of bad choices. Well, go figure out what the problem was. Where did the choice go bad? And that will start helping you grow up, because you'll realize, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have avoided that relationship. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. But don't just pick it apart intellectually. You have to get into it intuitively and see what was the choice and why did you make those choices. And then you can analyze that, and then you can say, oh, I see. I made that choice because I was afraid that if I didn't make that choice, such and such a thing was happening. Oh, yeah, my fear is making my choices for me. That's the problem. Okay. So then you look at that and say, well, here I'm feeling sorry for myself and I want to get out of it. And you probably realize that, oh, my fear's still making my choices for me. Yeah, well, if your fear is making your choices, they're almost guaranteed to be bad choices. Fear doesn't make good choices. Fear makes bad choices for the most part. So if you're making choices because you're trying to avoid something worse, you'll almost always, even if you do get out of the frying pan, you'll end up in the fire or someplace else that's worse. So, look at that. Why you made the choices you make. Why do you do the things you do? And if fear is, well, I'd like to stop, but I can't, because if I did, these awful things would happen. Well, that's fear making your choices. Now, you also have to realize you are not, by yourself on an island. You interact with all these other people, and you have responsibilities to some of those people. They have responsibility to you. Their responsibility to you is really none of your business. That's their business. Your responsibility to them, that's your business. So you just focus on that. And, that may be your children, that may be your spouse, that may be your parents, it may be your brother or sister, but you have responsibilities to some people. And that means you do things not because you feel like it, but because it's good for them. It's a giving thing. So, and you learn to do that, not begrudgingly, but smile when you do that. Feel good about doing that. Yeah, another 2 gold stars. I'm doing things for other people. Good. That's good. That's a good choice. And you'll eventually see that will make you feel better. When you do things and it helps people, you'll feel good. And you won't feel like, oh, I do everything, and you won't get into self-pity. You'll get, I really enjoy being helpful to people. And if you really are stuck in a terrible place, well, find a way out of it. Make a choice. Not based on fear, but make your best choice that takes into consideration not only yourself, but all the other people around you. How do you help or hurt those people? That's important.
It's important.
And if it's just good for you, but it hurts a lot of other people, that's a bad choice. That's called self-centeredness. That's a bad choice. You have to learn to find choices that everybody wins. You have to take care of your responsibilities, not begrudge them. Yeah, I got this responsibility. I got to do this and I got to do that. And and you don't like it. Well, change it if you don't like it, but think why you don't like it. And I bet why you don't like it has more to do with fear and your attitude and it's the way you're looking at it. You're judging things. It's not, you're not really looking at the way it is. You're looking at it from your own fearful perspective. So just spend some time looking for new perspectives, bigger pictures, other ways to see the problem, other ways to interpret the data. And don't spend any time at all worrying about why other people are doing what they're doing and whether that's good or bad. It's not yours to judge. They just do what they do. And your judgment is not necessary, not wanted, not useful, not helpful. Let them be. So just spend the time about what you're doing and why you're making the choices you're making them. And is it good reasons or bad reasons? And can you shift that? And how do you shift it?
And stop thinking that everybody's decision is because of you or that it affects you in some way, because you're allowing it to affect you in some way.
Exactly.
Decision, their choice is their choice. Stop making it about you.
Exactly. Yes. That's always true. If somebody comes up and insults you, it's not about you. It's about them. It's what they see. And they feel that they have to go, say something rude or unpleasant to somebody. That's their problem. That's their actions. That's their fear. They're trying to make themselves feel better, perhaps, make themselves bigger and whatever, put you down, makes them feel better. But you don't have to play that game. It's not about you. It's about them. And if they're off playing games like that, power trips, nothing you can do about that. That's just where they are. But you don't let it make you feel bad because it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It just has to do with them. So all those things just kind of slide right off. They don't affect you. So the things that upset you now won't upset you later. So fun, yes. Less fear, more fun. That's a good message. We're working toward lightness and positivity. And that's always kind of warm and cozy and nice and puts you in a good mood and makes you feel like telling a joke or helping somebody out, or it's all very positive. So that's the key. Stay positive. Stay positive, but take care of your responsibilities. Make good choices for the right reasons, and your life will straighten out and start to fly right.
And have fun.
Have fun all along the way. You really do have to have fun. That's why this event that we're doing is a big part of it is having fun. It's not just, oh, come listen to the wise people talk and sit and listen and be sure to be quiet and not interrupt and turn your cell phone off. It's not just that. There will be that there, and there will be wise people, and they will be telling you interesting things. But that's just conversation starter. That's to get you thinking. That's to get your mind going as to, do you agree with that or disagree with that, and why? And what are the issues? It's not just, well, you listen to it and you go, then you weren't really listening to it. You need to listen more intently as to what's being said. Everything that you'll hear at this seminar has implications that run very deep, very deep and very broadly. If you have these attitudes and these ideas, then here's where it takes you. Is that a place you want to go? Rather than just not following all that, just kind of listening to the words and only intellectually processing the data, then you'll come away and it'll be, But if you process the data intuitively as well as intellectually, you can see all the paths and little rabbit holes and logical possibilities and where all that's going and whether or not that's a good, a place to go, or whether it has dead ends or other places where you kind of get stopped. And if there are, then you may want to go talk to somebody else. Hey, did you notice that such and such, this kind of leads to a logical dead end there, and that's a problem. So all that should be fun. Yeah. But if you live in a dark cloud where life is a chore, then you never see any of that. All of the fun stuff, the interesting stuff, and the ideas and concepts all just flow by, and they never connect to you, and you never connect to them. So you never have any of those fun conversations because you're so engrossed in your own problem and everybody else's problem that you start to lose touch with what's real, and you're lost in your own little made-up world. What did you used to call that? Your story. That used to be one of your metaphors. You get lost in your own story, and you don't know how to escape your story or how to change the story, because that's been your story for a long time. And it's kind of hard to step out of it, but you can step out of it. You can let that story go. Find a bigger picture. Always look for the bigger picture, the bigger perspective from which things make more sense. So that's a little bit about fun. How are we doing on time? Well, we're just about right on the nose there, aren't we? Just a couple of more minutes.
We don't have to drag it out. No.
No. We won't have to tell any jokes, will we? We can keep this serious. We'll keep this serious thing going here.
I have to say, the thing that made the biggest impression was your sticks and carrots. I really like that metaphor.
Yeah. Well, it started out as there's no way to, and I can't remember who wrote this, but there's no way to train a donkey, except with sticks and carrots. So you offer the donkey a carrot to get it going, or you give it a whap with a stick, to get it to go. So that means positive and negative, I don't know what you call them,
behavioral.
Behavioral, whatever. You give people things that are positive, try to entice them to go or to do this or that, or you try to push them or give them negatives that say, this is going to continue to hurt if you don't get up off the tack. Don't
try it on a cat, because that will never work.
Yeah.
Dogs, sure. Cats,
yeah. No. Cats live.
You get
they live. Yeah, they live by their own rules, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, but cats are generally fairly happy.
Oh yes, until you stick them.
But yeah, no, I think sticks don't work real well on cats.
Unless you're playing.
Yeah, they don't work real well on cats. Cats
They have their own.
Cats don't like sticks, but anyway, that's a general training thing. You know, whether you're training dogs or training yourself or anything else, there has to be motivation, and that motivation generally comes in only two forms, and that's positive and negative. So the motivation that's positive you call carrots, and the negative, the motivation that's negative, you call sticks. So sticks and carrots is what it's all about. My book is full of sticks and carrots. And it's that's what makes people take the next step.
It's true. I prefer the carrots, but
Carrots are a lot nicer.
fortunately, the sticks are the ones that really make an impression. Literally.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because the sticks work on fear.
Right.
Oh, I don't want to feel that stick again, so I'm going to start to move, or I'm going to do this or do that because that stick was not pleasant. Therefore, I don't want to feel it again. I'm afraid to feel it again. So it really works on fear. And that is the way that almost everybody that's trying to manipulate somebody else, they almost always use sticks. The politicians use sticks. Law enforcement uses sticks. You name it. If they're trying to manipulate you, marketers use both sticks and carrots. They try to pull you in with something that looks good, but they also try to make you feel guilty or ill at ease or whatever. But use that as a way to motivate you as well. So yes, that's the manipulating people by their fears is traditional. Because it's easy. You find that if you find what people's fears are, this is easy to manipulate them with those fears. And sometimes when people are really hard to manipulate, the government or whatever else stirs up a lot of fear just to make the people more easy to manipulate. So yes, that's sticks are kind of fear-based. They work very well. Carrots work sometimes. Yeah, that's sort of a nice carrot, but I'm waiting for a bigger one, or a little scrawny carrot doesn't entice me that much. Or carrots are problematical. People may not make much effort for the carrot that you give them. You have to give them a bigger, juicier carrot to get them to do something. But sticks, whap, okay, I'll go. They work real well. It's unfortunate because it's much better. And if you talk to any trainer, whatever they're training, whether they're training, dogs or rabbits or whatever, if they're training something, they'll tell you that use positive reinforcement as much as possible. Because if you train with negative reinforcement, you'll end up with a problematic, say, dog. It'll be an unhappy dog. Yes, you can force them to behave the way you want, but it's only by force. They won't like it. They won't like you either. But they'll do what you want them to do. They'll do what they're told. But they won't be happy. And if they're not happy, you're not going to be happy either. Because they will find ways to resist. They will find ways to drag their feet. They will find ways to say, okay, I'll come, but before I do come, I'm going to flop down in this big mud puddle, and then I'm going to come. They just find little ways that they can kind of save some of their own self-esteem.
But don't we all?
Yeah. So sticks are not the best way to try to go through life. Carrots are much better. But some people just won't budge. No matter how big the carrot is, they just won't budge because they don't even see the carrot as a carrot. So sometimes a stick is necessary.
All right. Well, this has been a great show. I think we've, it's a good show. I like the whole fun aspect.
Fun is essential. Right. Move toward the light, move toward the fun.